Hello, welcome Kevin and Matt to the
Hello.
podcast.
Hello.
Hello, two of the fierce and the dead. So one of you is fierce and one of you is dead.
Something like that, yeah.
We take turns.
Brilliant. Brilliant. So look, guys, I will have already explained how we've ended up here. And that was Matt, you sending me the album, which I've got to say, when I first listened to it, I thought, well, actually, I'll be completely, absolutely 100% honest, as I always am.
Please do.
When I got it, and you said that the band were all fans of Acid Rain, I've had lots of stuff like this over the years. Okay. So I downloaded the album, as I always do, and I pressed play, as I always do, but with a sense of trepidation.
Can you just give me the riff to Motherly Love over and over again?
No, in case it's horrifically shit. And it's like, because many times over the years, it's like, big fans of the band, check it out.
Right,
It's terrible.
I'm just going, oh my God, are we partly responsible for this?
We did this. We created this.
Yeah, and so, but yeah, straight out the gate, really liked it. First time, I think. I genuinely, I'm not kind of winding you up, but I think I was really impressed, and just really impressed, to be honest, guys.
Oh, thanks, man. That's very kind of you. Thank you.
That's amazing. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's been a bit of a weird trip, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's bizarre for me as well, because it's like, I don't know, it's just a really quality, mature piece of songwriting. You could have gone off on tangents and places, and you don't, but when you do it really well.
Thanks,
No,
man.
thanks, man. That's very kind of you. Thank you.
It's just I don't know. You know what? Maybe a lot of other musicians out there might relate to this, but what we discovered after years of being in loads of different bands and trying different things, and I don't know, we found that the most success we ever had was when we just went, you know what, let's just do whatever we want.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it kind of all, you know what I mean?
It's the key. Okay, we just pause a second there to just sort out some technical odds and ends. Just in case you thought Darth Vader was in the room. He's gone now. Okay, everyone. So don't worry about that. So had you all? Are you victims of people who've been in bands before, and you're victims of compromise? And
well, we started off when we were about sort of 13, 14, and we were in a band that was very, very knockoff thrash metal band. So we were into, like you guys, we were into Voivod, Celtic Frost, that kind of stuff. So it was that kind of noisy, and I think by the time we were doing it in sort of 1990, 1991, nobody cared at all. I mean, it was literally the point where British thrash was dying, grindcore was coming in, and we were sort of like, we were probably the least fashionable possible music you could make. You know what I mean?
Without a doubt.
It was. Oh, we lost you there.
No, not at all.
Oh, we lost the link.
Oh dear.
Is he gone? He's frozen.
Hold on.
Yeah.
We can hear you, Matt.
We can hear you, mate. Oh, this is awesome. We finally get to do this, and it's shambolic as fuck.
Love it. But basically, I'll carry on until he comes back.
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
But we were just kind of like doing our thing. It was quite funny actually, because the first band we were ever in was, we were trying really hard to be, like say, all the bands Matt was mentioning there, but we didn't have the chops, man. So we ended up being like unintentionally avant-garde. So it's quite a left field kind of a kind of thrash band. And there was just, I don't know, the thing with us is we were all playing together since we were like 14 years old. The band as it is now, we were all from the same hometown. We all knew each other. It was, I'm sure loads of people relate to it. That classic thing of it being like a really small town in the middle of nowhere, but there being about 45 bands.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, look, we were Harrogate was a fairly small town. That's how we got together. We were all at school together, same thing.
Yeah, exactly. And you get there by like you find stuff you think is cool, and then you try and do that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But I don't know. We just never really kind of latched onto anything in particular, and just kept doing different things. And I don't know. I think we just kind of got better at being ourselves over the years, and stopping trying to be somebody else. You know what I mean?
It's the hardest thing to do. I mean, I've always said it that when you start out, you sound like your influences. That's why it's best to do your growing up in private. And as you develop, as you take your influences, you create something that is different, and that's your sound. And that, that's where that is when you find who you are. That's your band.
And another thing as well we learned over the years is to allow people their own perceptions of you, whatever you think you are.
Yeah.
So for example, like on our first album, with The Fierce and the Dead, I mean, a lot of it was literally like, not in a kind of, chin stroking kind of way, but a lot of it was improvised. A lot of it was just kind of made up on the spot. And we wanted to do something really punky and aggressive. So we wrote this song called Land Crab, named after the classic Wolseley land crab. And it was kind of like, let's do a punky King Crimson-y noisy thing, really fast. And then a review, and it was a good review. He was being really complimentary because within his context, he said, for fans of Joe Satriani. We were trying to sound like Black Flag and King Crimson, which a lot of other people, but this reviewer, or obviously didn't have those points of reference.
Yeah.
So he was referring to it by whatever he'd got. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So you kind of, your instinct is to go, how dare you, sir? That's not what we're doing at all. But then you kind of go, hold on a minute, he's actually fine with it. So yeah, once we kind of like just calm down on trying to be cool, just when, what do we like? What would impress us? And even now, a lot of our stuff is things that we think us and our mates would think was cool. That's it.
That should be the way you write you write any album. You just write stuff that you think is cool. Do you know what I mean? And you go like, that's pretty cool. That sounds good. And you have to trust in yourself. The weird thing is, this is exactly the same in comedy. When you start out as a stand-up, your crap and your material is kind of knockoff of your favorite comedians.
Yeah. In the style
and then you keep going, eventually find your voice and you find your style, and that's who you are. And it's the same journey, but also the key to writing like good comedy is the same as any writing. You write what you know. And so when you write your best comedy, it's when you're actually saying things that like basically family members don't know, things you've never said to close friends. It's why I keep people away from gigs. They're gonna hit because it's different.
That's really interesting. I was lucky enough, like years ago, I worked the door. That makes me sound like I was a bouncer. I was the guy with the earpiece and the clipboard at a comedy club in Covent Garden in London.
Oh right, yeah.
Sort of keep doing all that kind of stuff. And it was at that time there was a lot of comedians coming through, who were just starting to get on TV. So that kind of lot. And it was really interesting because a lot of them would be like repeat offenders. They come week after week,
Yeah.
And as you probably know, a lot of comedians, they're doing 2 or 3 gigs a night, and but they'd got the set. But the thing I thought was really interesting was that they'd come one week and the audience would be, I don't know, slightly different to the one it was last week, and they'd be doing the same material, but it was like slightly twisted. It was slightly tailored because they'd follow, the good comedians at least would follow where the audience was going.
Right. It's the opposite way around.
Yeah.
It's the other way round.
You reckon?
Other way round. Yes. Well, basically you have to play the room.
Yeah.
You have to play the room the same way you do in a band.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
But what you don't do is tailor your performance to them. You just
I see what you
just
mean.
give it more. Yeah, you just bring it. You put it across in a different way. It's like because comedy is so much more personal. That's about having a connection with an audience, whereas music is obviously it's much wider. As we welcome back Matt. Don't worry, Matt. You just you missed.
We're just talking about you.
Yeah, you missed the two of us disappearing up our own arseholes.
Oh dear.
Well, here's a question for you then, because we always think of it sounds really weird, like you say, but whenever we play live, there's I mean, we love it, man. It's like playing live because it's a joyful thing. It's not us standing there going like, check us out. It's a shared experience. Everybody in the room's having the same thing. Yeah. And whilst, it's composed pieces of music and stuff like that, but you know this yourself, man. The worst thing in the world is a passive audience.
Yeah,
I'd rather have them throwing stuff at us, or one or the other. Do you know what I mean? But it's when that's passive thing and you're not getting anything, even though you can just stand there and play the songs. It ain't the same, is it?
Oh, the worst thing I could say about any band live or recorded work is it's all right.
Yeah. So exactly.
I mean, if you're not eliciting a reaction, just fucking turn it in.
Oh yeah, totally, man. Yeah. Exactly. And that's kind of, it goes back round again to what we was talking about is the thing of just doing your own thing, because you realize, the minute you start chasing something or thinking, oh, it should be a bit more like this, or it should be a bit more like that, because of what's going on at the minute, or, it's just like, come on. I don't know what you think about this, but like, I've worked in recording studios for a long time. I don't at the minute, but for a long time. And I worked with these guys, these producers who were talking about modern metal. And they were saying they get a lot of young bands coming in and they're like really hyped up, really excited. And the producers will talk to them about like, let's get a really unique sound and let's, make you sound like, and they'll be like, yeah. And he said, and then they'll spend, for example, on guitar sounds, they'll spend like 3 days going through loads of different amps and guitars, and they'll end up with a Mesa Boogie and the same guitar sound that every other metal band has. Do you know what I mean? It's like, because that's what sounds right to them, because that's metal. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And the same goes for lots of other genres. It's not just a metal thing, but it's that thing of like, I don't know, like old Motown sound like old Motown because that's all the equipment they've got.
I know what you're saying. You know what I mean? You're saying about the personally I refer to it as laptop metal.
Yes, exactly.
It's got a lot less to do with the Mesa Boogie and a lot more to do with everyone using the same fucking plugin.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. The time I'm talking about was just before the amp sims kind of like really kicked in.
Yes, yeah,
full on. It was still like drummers but triggers and stuff.
Yeah, and now it's just it's gone to the next iteration. But you've just you do what you do. I mean, how long have you guys been together? Because I've got very little information on the band because, like a dickhead, I didn't download the information on the band. I just downloaded the album, and I thought the information can stay there, and then I forgot where the fucking link is. So I genuinely didn't think I'd be going back for the information. Do you know what I mean? You've been a band for ages. You don't gig very often. How long has this album taken? How long is it since your last album? This is the first album with vocals. So people listening now are going to be like, Jesus Christ, really? Really? All that? Because I wouldn't have mentioned it before.
Wow. We've been together how long now, Matt?
This band's been 13 years. And then we've done this our fourth album, the first we've had singing on, but we've done loads of gigs. I mean, we used to do a lot of gigs. We used to do pre-pandemic, we did lots of gigs, and we did sort of support people at Hawkwind and people that did sort of space jockey sort of things, and used to play at the Underworld quite a bit with like Dave Lombardo and people like that. We did that one, and we did loads of those sort of people come into town, and we'd be the support band because we were London based and we could bring a few people. Basically, we knew a few promoters. We did it's been 13 years, and it was all instrumental stuff. And it was only during lockdown we really tried to do the vocal thing, and then sort of I was encouraging Kev to do more and more singing, really, weren't I?
Yeah. I mean, none of this is like, even being an instrumental band, none of it was ideological. It was just a thing of, I
haven't got a singer.
We just haven't got a singer, and it's just like, and the things as well, growing up in the 90s with the sort of music that was around, there was loads of bands that were instrumental rock bands. It just wasn't a big deal. It was fine. It wasn't a problem.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's the album itself, and for great vocals, by the way.
Thank you.
That's that's incredible. But you just sort of dropped something in the middle there, that you just happened to mention that you'd gigged with Dave Lombardo.
We did.
Yeah, that was a bit. Yeah, well, to say he had an instrumentalist. Well, it was mostly instrumentalist band, wasn't it?
It was no, they did have some vocals. It was a band called Film, PHILM. It was one of his side projects. Yeah. So they rolled into town, and
it's how Geordie's pronounced film, isn't it? Film.
Yeah, film.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, he rolled into town, and we were the support band, and yeah, that was momentous. Standing literally like, it was at the Underworld in London, and we were standing literally like 10 feet behind Dave Lombardo playing.
Yeah,
you know, that's incredible.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing.
There was,
amazing, guys.
We grew up with Slayer. I mean, Slayer was just huge for us when we were kids, and I went to see the Decade of Aggression tour when I was about 15, and it was just totally changed. You know, just unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, seeing them. I mean, you know, they never. Just seeing it at that time was just incredible. They were so good. But yeah, it was. That was. I mean, we were really lucky with the support slots we got, just because we lived in London, and we went drinking with lots of people, and we weren't. You know, we were nice and no trouble. You know, I think that gets you quite away. You know what I mean? So
it does.
If you can just you're pleasant to have a pint with, and you're not going to be difficult, and we just love playing, and just we really enjoy being part of that sort of scene. So like we did like gigs with like prog rock bands and metal bands and all sorts of stuff. And
I have to get you on we'll have to get you on one of our underworld shows. I can't believe.
I'd love to do that.
Well, you know us. We're always
I saw
playing the Underworld.
I saw you at the Underworld. Yeah, it's brilliant. I saw you the first time you played with Zentrix. It was really special. Yeah. Because I'd never thought I'd see you, because when I was a kid.
Right.
It was brilliant, and like Mosh Consumption was a huge thing for me when I was a kid. So just to see you guys then, it was just like, oh man, it's really cool.
Oh, that's great, man. And that is you were at a great show. That was
awesome. Yeah,
that was a great night. I mean, I'd lived in London for 4 years. I'd lived in London for 20 odd years at that point, and been to countless gigs at the Underworld and never played it.
We played it quite. We went through a run of playing it quite.
We played it loads, didn't we? Yeah.
Yeah. With like as Matt's saying, we were playing with lots of bands coming through. So like, who else we played with? Dub Trio. We played
Dub
with
Trio
them.
and people. Loads sort of experimental. It was if there was an experimental, vaguely metally, very vaguely proggy sort of band on. We used to do the support slots for loads of those sort of bands.
Get Matt Kev on the phone.
Yeah. What time do you want us?
Exactly.
Well, I'm going to play a song. I'm going to play a song on the podcast before the interview as well, just so people have got an idea of how the band sounds. Now the song that I'm going to play is. I guess you're going to know which one I'm going to play. Because it's it effectively opens the album. Shake the Jar.
Yeah.
It is sort of reminiscent of kind of Queens of the Stone Age sort of Songs of the Deaf era. Would that be
what Matt had a good thing on this, was that basically, because we've had before, but the era we grew up in, the music we was into, we were just ripping off the same bands as Queens of the Stone Age. We're massive fans. We're massive fans of the Groundhogs. Right. Go and listen to the Groundhogs, and you'll see where Masters of Reality.
Mate, Gaz was telling me all about the Groundhogs back in the day.
Mate,
Gaz was amazing. A massive fan.
Yeah. So Strange Town, all those kind of riffs, and then like Masters of Reality, which is basically, Chris Goss, who basically kind of invented Queens of the Stone Age, sort of, at least their sound and stuff, So it's like, we were just listening to a lot of the same stuff. And obviously, Queens of the Stone Age are an amazing band, and, have grown into these amazing songwriters as well. So yeah, of course, it's all in the mix, but it wasn't. Yeah, it's nothing ever where it's just sort of like let's do this. It's just, I don't know. It just comes out like that. We found it. going back to what we were saying before, like just doing what you want to do, man. It's just like just follow it through.
No, absolutely. Because when I had the first song, I wrongly thought, oh, right, okay, so
Yeah.
here we go. These guys have gone down the sort of songs for the deaf, this kind of route. This is who they are. Whereas as the album develops, and as you, for want of a less wanky phrase, reveal yourselves, there's like, it's like, right, okay, you've totally have your own sound. You really have kind of found that place that you seem to have been looking for so long.
Yeah, thanks, man. I mean,
does it feel like that, Matt? Does it feel like that? Kev?
It feels like, yeah. I mean, because we like so much music, from like sort of really extreme metal, so jazz and sort of proggy stuff and electronic stuff, and loads and loads of different types of music. We just love all. We've always been the sort of people who share different types of music, and we've been friends since we were kids. So yeah, I think it has been a sense of we found ourselves with this record. I mean, the press we've had for it's been nuts. I mean, I never expected people to be really into it. I mean, I was kind of hoping we'd sort of just got to get away with it, but people really like it. It's really nuts. I mean,
you were hoping to get away with it. I bought the TV. I bought the CD.
Because it's like, but when you do new things, right? But we built a little audience, and the people are really into it. That was great, yeah. But when you build things up, people get expectations, and then you keep changing, and if you do something that's really different, people tend to get a bit, what's this? But everyone's been great about it. It's been really, really great, amazing. So I feel we've been really lucky, really.
But but this is the thing, you see. I think you guys have been in bands many years, as have I. And you basically what comes with putting yourself out there. And I think that's something that people who have never done anything like that really struggle with. And I think there's it's hard to describe, actually, as I'm proving now. It's hard to describe what it's like to put something out there and have everybody react to it, because people are going to react to it well, and people are going to react to it badly, and people are not going to give a shit, and some people you were hoping would like it, never heard it, and blah, all the rest of it. But also, it's out there, and a part of you has to go, right, that is out there, and people are perfectly entitled to their opinion about it. They're about to love it as much as they like, and hate it as much as they like. And it's the reason I mention this is somebody recently wanted something from me, and didn't get what they wanted.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, well, no, like, you've asked for something, and that's what you're getting. It's not but this isn't what I wanted. And it's like, well, hang on a second.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's interesting, because we've had quite a few conversations about this over the years, and going back to what we were saying earlier as well, we're quite lucky that we've got a circle of friends, of people that we have like huge amounts of respect for their opinions. And so during the writing of this, even, we were sending demos to people and just saying, we don't really care if you like it subjectively, but objectively, is this okay?
Right.
Because you can never please everybody. Trying to be subjectively, please to everybody is impossible. But as long as we was just like, okay, we're not actually insane, are we? We're not, you know what I mean? Because for us as well, it's like, we've had this conversation loads of times, Matt. It would be really easy for us to go, okay, let's just become a straight down the line metal band. Let's become a straight down the line progressive band. Let's just, that song that did really well, let's just do more of that, Yeah,
it just frustrates me sometimes, because a lot of those music scenes have become so conservative now, and it's just so, the metal scene. I mean, we grew up on metal. Metal was our thing when we were kids, and then to see the metal scene just seems so conservative now, in terms of guitar sounds, in terms of song structures, in terms of. And I think when there was that thing at the end of the 80s into the 90s where thrash and there's Faith No More and people like that, and everything seemed to be on the table in terms of what you could do with music, and it's like when you. a lot of it's really hard for us to get gigs on like metal festivals and stuff like that. I mean, we'd love to do metal festivals, but because unless it's full on exactly ticking all the boxes, but we can do half an hour of banging really drop C, thrashy, heavy stuff. But it's really hard, to conform to that.
I know where you're coming from, but to be honest, a lot of the time it ain't about the music; it's about the management. It's about the management and the festival curating what they see as what they want. And honestly, I genuinely, part of me agrees with you and part of me disagrees with you, because I think the stuff is out there, the innovation is happening, but it's a lot harder to find than it was back in the day. And that's because, record companies have been removed from, deciding who is good enough to put an album out. So now every fucker puts an album out. So now those little bits of gold that were easier to find are now under all of those albums that bands can put out, because you don't need to put you don't need to label, you just stick it out. So I think it is out there, but it's so much harder to find. Like everything is so much harder to find.
It's where it's like with the production, like on this album, on our album, we're quite keen to, we personally, as as people listening to what we're doing, we want to hear things that we haven't heard before, whether that be a guitar sound or a drum sound or and it's like it again, it's as we were talking about earlier, it's so easy to just drop in those sounds and go, well, that's been road tested by every other band for the last 10 years, so it'll be like really easy. But it's like the equipment we use is, we use loads of different kind of unorthodox things, I guess, but it's just whatever we go, oh, that's cool. And so much of the stuff, I know during lockdown, Matt was sending me stuff all the time because Matt was on a rotation of buying like guitar pedals, but it's like every time he bought a new guitar pedal, it would just he'd plug it in, play like 3 things, and that would be the new song, because that sound has gone, oh, let's do that. It suggested something and away you go. It kind of, everything just produces something. But to sort of, the idea of having a sound is a bit alien to us. That thing of like having a specific guitar tone. There's things we're always going to sound like us because we're not good enough to sound like anybody else.
I think that's it. There's a thing of the 4 of us. I think we've realised now the 4 of us playing together sounds like this, and that's kind of, it's always going to be that sound. But I love just trying different stuff, and like Kev said, we're not virtuoso musicians. We just play like we're literally just jamming with our mates from school still, you know what I mean? All these years later, we're still that band that used to play together at school, playing old thrash metal riffs and that, and it's just, we just do it because we love it, you know what I mean? So there's very little pretension there. It's all about the joy of doing it, you know what I mean?
But that is so fucking cool. I mean, as you said that, I was thinking, Christ, I don't think I'm in my 10th year on the podcast, and I don't think I think the only band who could come close to saying that would be Billy Talent.
Right.
Who've been playing together since they were 14.
Yeah.
And they have taken it to a different level.
Yeah.
But that's incredible. That really is. And that is something to be proud of, to be able to keep those bonds. And because that's the other thing as well, is people don't realize, and this is probably the wrong word. No, it's probably the right word. I don't think people realize, again, if you're not in a band and you haven't done it, then you wouldn't, how it's going to sound wanky, but how intimate it is playing music with someone.
Yeah.
And it is, you're not getting your knob out. It's not that kind of intimate. Come on.
Do you not?
Obviously.
Do you not?
No. Well, you're a bass player, so you never so it's never away. But you could have that extra string.
Exactly.
But it's like, because you look, a look says a hell of a lot in a fucking song when you're playing in a band with someone. Just a look and for those of you not being in bands and stuff like that, you're in relationships where just a look and you fucking know. Well, it's the same in a band. It's just
100%.
It's a vibe.
100%. It's we've spoken about this before, haven't we, Matt? That it's like we've got this shorthand, that we can kind of just you know, when we're writing something or, you know, whatever, and I can say to Matt, oh, you know what, that sound, you know, that, I don't know, that country guitar riff that you've just brought in, that sound really cool if we played it like the Melvins or something, you know what I mean? And just, yeah, it's just, you understand what I mean. It's like, it's not like I don't mean it literally, you know what I mean? It's like I'll say to Stuart, you know, oh, can you play something a bit James Addictiony on that?
Yeah.
And he understands what I mean, because we all grew up together. We all knew what we have, that shorthand, you know.
You better have some Acid Rainy bits.
Yeah.
Fucking better.
On the last album we did, it's got a very massive rain riff on it. Yeah, it's got a very
right.
yeah.
Okay. Funnily enough, I was sat here listening to your album the other night with none other. Hey, this is going to freak you out.
Oh,
this
God.
is going to freak you out.
God.
No, not that it's like some big star or anything, but I was listening to your album with none other than Steve Stilly Papworth, Kev's younger brother, and obviously immortalized on the back of Moshkinstein.
Yeah.
We borrowed Steve drums exclusively, and
brilliant.
And we sat and listened to the album, and he was like, "You know, bit good for a bunch of Acid Rain fans, this."
I love that.
So
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's
high praise.
High praise indeed. High praise indeed. But yeah, of course, there's good. Look, we all, you know, there are. I mean, sometimes you have bits in songs where you're like, "Fuck me," it's like literally when you hear it, and you're like, I really hope we don't get shit for this, and like nobody notices. Yeah. Or for instance, Ripped Apart on the Age of Entitlement. That is, I have read reviews where that is basically sounds like it was co-written by Overkill. Right. Someone else say that's like directly, that's just like a song off Nation by Sepultura. Then someone else say it's just pure Motorhead.
Right. Yeah.
It's like it's just straight out Motorhead. And I'm like, well,
yeah.
And the thing is, it's, you know, it's not, it's Acid Rain.
Yeah.
But that proves that it's Acid Rain, because it means all these different things and different influences to different people.
Yes, and exactly. Yeah.
So it's like, you sometimes you are just the product of your environment, and what you come out with might actually sound like someone else, and you're like, oh well, yeah, happy accident, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, you know, I mean, we have, everybody's quite unique in their kind of how they play, their kind of like playing personality. And I mean, like Matt especially is a bit of a secret weapon, because whatever I give will all, you know, or whatever Matt gives or whatever it is will always sound like Matt. Do you know what I mean? Right. It's like it's you know, it's got that kind of, it's just like, and it doesn't really matter. It's not the guitar sound or anything like that. It's literally your note choice and like the rhythms and all, you know what I mean? It just sounds like that. And it's like there's so much of our stuff. And it's funny actually, because when we've had some conversations, there's a friend of the band who's like quite a well-known jazz drummer, but he started like playing in like hardcore bands and stuff back in, you know, when he was a kid and whatever, and like liked Celtic Frost and stuff. And you know, we played him some stuff in the past, and anybody would listen to some of our stuff and go, that's you know, Celtic Frost will be nowhere near their mind. But because he was so intimate with them, he was like, I can hear what you've done there. Or you've taken the you know, a Celtic Frost style riff and you've played it in a different style and used different production or different guitar sounds. And it's, you know, it's not that we've ripped it off or anything like that. We've just taken that vibe and kind of done something else with it, you know, because that's a lot of the time, you know, that's kind of where we go. It's all those kind of, isn't it, Matt? It's those that shorthand of like I don't know, but you know, you've got a massive metal riff, you know, and then let's try doing like make it sound like LCD sound system and see what happens. You know, just do what you want.
I think because all of us grew up the first bands we were all metal bands and all thrash. It was very specifically thrash metal bands. Very much 1990, 1991. We just about, like I said before, we timed it exactly at the wrong time to start a band like that.
Yeah.
And nobody, even the bands who were good at that stuff weren't doing it anymore.
Yeah.
Mate, if you came out now as that band, you'd be fucking legends.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
It's just, it was completely the wrong thing to do. We should have been probably trying to sound like Nirvana.
It's one of those like comical moments, isn't it? It's like you the two of you running to a fancy dress party, and you get there and it's not a fancy dress party. It's just the two of you.
Do you remember, Matt, going down? So I'm sure anybody knows anything knows, but down in Denmark Street in London is where all the guitar shops are. There's fewer of them these days. But I remember going down there in sort of like the early to mid 90s, and it was just, Epiphones with Union Jacks on them and stuff like this. Yeah. And you'd kind of go up to the guy, and it was like being in the 70s asking for porn or something. You go up to the guy and go, you got any BC Riches, mate? You go, come around the back. You go around the back room, and there'd be all the pointy guitars. It was just not thing.
Have you got any guitars that look like a spider that's been trodden on? Yeah, here you go, mate. BC Rich is what you want.
Yeah, exactly. It was just kind of a weird environment to be in,
Yeah.
So yeah. I don't know.
I think that's the thing. It's just because we came back through like metal, and then we played in sort of indie rock bands and sort of did loads of different styles of music. Really, the stuff we were excited about as we grew up. Really.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, I think that's what you've got to do, is do the things that you love. And hopefully, eventually, it wasn't ever a case of not doing metal, we're not going to do it. We just literally just followed the records we loved. And, I think eventually you get to a point where you've got your own thing going. I mean, it's a bit weird to be the age we're at, but, we're doing it because we're doing music we love. And I think that's really something special to us. And,
absolutely. But also, I think it's also a testament to perseverance as well. To that, just like, we enjoy doing what we do, and it's like you said, you've played all kinds of music, all kinds of different styles, and all the rest of it. But there's something. It's like, look, you can be an optimist, or you can be a pessimist. So basically, you can either say, "Oh, what a shame it's taken you all these years to have got here," or you can say, "Fuck me. We actually got here. That's amazing."
Yeah. Well, that's it. And it's nuts.
I think that's that's the thing that we actually, and also we're not, we're really loving doing this at this particular time in our lives, and we really, I think, because I got really
post-pandemic as well.
Yeah, I like just before that I had cancer as well, so we had all sorts of stuff happening. So it's been like a lot of stuff happening. So but it makes, I know it's horribly. But it makes you appreciate things. It makes you appreciate how lucky you just to be able to be in a room with your mates and make some horrible noise is a really bloody special thing for us. And just to be there with your mates and just be able to go, I've got this, let's have a bit of a jam on this. And it's just, I know it sounds horribly cliche, but it does make you realise how much you appreciate just having your friends and just being alive. Just being able to, just being able to make music is a bloody joyful thing to do. And I never forget it. And I realise how lucky I am as well. So,
mate, when I was on stage in front of like 49 punters in Northampton in April, I was saying the same thing to myself over and over and over and over again.
You know what? Actually, that's a really good point, man. Because the one thing we do and that we're really super protective of is the fact that we all love doing it. We all think it's worthwhile doing, and we're really protective of that. So that's one of the reasons why we're not sitting in a van going up and down the country, to try and play as many gigs as we humanly can, because the audience just isn't there for us at the minute,
But also, there's a certain they're squeezing all the joy out of things.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? It's like that. We've just organising shows, and I do all the back end kind of stuff, and it's like, look, guys, we can walk away from X, Y, or Z with a nice bit of wedge.
Yeah.
Or, we can do that, but it's going to mean 3 vehicles, 3 of us are driving.
Yeah.
shitty B&B.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in other words, it's a trade-off.
Yeah.
Do you want to come back with, money and a fucking headache and basically like knackered and thinking, why do I fucking do this?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Or do you want to come back, expenses paid, a few quid in your pocket, nothing to write home about, and you've had a fucking blast.
100%, man. How many so I know we've had a few, luckily not many in this band. How many 2 a.m. van journeys have you had in complete silence?
Oh,
the ones that, anybody who's in a band knows exactly those ones where just you can feel everybody sitting there going, why am I doing this?
Well, actually, do you know what? The reason why I said, oh yeah, is because I have never, ever slept in a van. Just like, again, it comes with the ADHD. So right. I'm always up front. Well, towards the end of the night, I'm usually up front with the driver.
Yeah.
We're having a chat. It's like, I'm not sleeping until we either get to a hotel or we get home.
Right. But you know what I mean? Those times where you're like, where you start questioning everything. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
My favorite one is when you start having hallucinations because you're so tired.
Yeah.
That you start hallucinating. That's always a classic. Knowing that you've got to unload when you get back, that you've still got. You're not getting back and going to bed. Oh, fuck that! No. You're getting back, and then you are going to put your back into it and
yeah. And unload quietly.
Yeah,
that's always good.
There's that as well.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, it's awful, isn't it? But but that's what we're trying to. We know what that feels like. We've done that before, and we don't want to be there. So when we get offered things, we're kind of like, that's what we're kind of sense checking against. Exactly what you said.
Yeah.
Is this going to be fun? Is this going to be worth it? Are we going to come out like massively out of pocket? Or are we going to, we've done loads of gigs where we've come out massively out of pocket, but they've been amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and it's like, you just size it up and go, you know what, this is going to be awesome. So let's go and do that. I mean, we've always been, we've been very lucky. We've had help from a small label called BEM that really helped us kind of like establish us. And now we're kind of like doing everything ourselves, but we don't have an agent, we don't have management, we don't have anything like that at all. But it's like we got booked to play a festival in America, and it was like a really kind of homegrown festival. It's a pretty big deal in the kind of world it was in, but it wasn't. The guy who books the bands, he doesn't book them on commercial kind of ideas. He books them because he's like, okay, I'm really excited about this band. So we're there, man. It's like, the dude's in the front row. The dude has literally put his money where his mouth is, has paid for us to fly across to another country to come and play in front of these people who've got no idea what they're about to get. I think that's probably the most nerve-wracking experience I've ever had. And it was purely because I just didn't want to let this guy down. Do you know what I mean? That was, but then after that, it was like, wow, we're in America, not because of any deal that's been done, not because of anything other than somebody heard our music and went, I'm going to invest in that. That's nuts, man. That's it. That's incredible.
That is amazing.
That was really special. And to be there with your mates that you've been to, literally growing up from school age with, playing in various bands. And it's just like, you sit and you go, this is weird, isn't it?
That's awesome, man.
It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, that was a good one. That was.
Felt like a competition winner that weekend.
Do you feel like you were doing sort of like charity one-off? This is it,
We've won, yes. But it was amazing. It's great, lovely. I mean, it's lovely people as well. So yeah, it's been it's a really weird band to be in because it's not been a conventional path at all. We've had to do other stuff.
You can say you've toured the USA though.
We've done one gig in the USA.
I know comedians in their early years who said that they'd done a tour, and what they meant was that they'd done a gig while they were on holiday.
Yeah. Amazing. I love that. I'm just going to nip out. go and do a gig.
Yeah, but no,
Oh man,
it's been good. It's been really good.
yeah. Oh, we're desperate to get out and to play different countries again and all that kind of stuff. I mean, obviously, there's all the nonsense going on with borders and all that kind of stuff. But
But you are keen.
yeah.
You're keen to get back out there and play some shows.
Oh, definitely, man. Yeah, 100%. Especially with this new material, it's kind of
Yeah. Well, I mean,
exciting.
it's a contractual question. I mean, I have to ask it, don't I? Band, new albums out, obviously. Going to play some shows. Although I don't know, you probably have to when you have to have a word with the cunts at the record label, because I have heard that they are an absolute pack of cunts. Your record label,
Wankers, absolute wankers. Yeah.
they're on their own label.
Hey!
No, I'm not letting the lads do that. I'm not letting the lads do that. No, absolutely. That's not enough. It's not enough. We're not going out for more than X, Y, Z.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Nah, sorry, can't do it. Can't do it. I'd love to.
Yeah, exactly. But it's cool though. It's like this is the first time. No, it's not the first time. That's a lie. But I think the way we wrote this album, because we did it all during lockdown, and a lot of it was like file sharing, sending stuff to each other, and then going into a studio, and then putting together that. So it's quite weird because it's like normally like you're in a rehearsal room and nobody can hear each other, their cells over each other. So you kind of get that, which is a vibe, which is a thing. It's cool. But then with this, so it's like this is the first time our drummer Stuart, we'd send him stuff and he could sit on his own without anybody tuning up or trying to sound check anything around him and just work on drum parts, and then he'd send them back and he'd be like, I never thought of that. So it was actually like every time we'd send stuff back to each other, it was like, oh, it's become a new song again. It's actually exciting. You weren't getting bored of it.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's basically pretty similar to how we work, which is
amazing.
And you get a song to a point, you get a song to room ready, then you take it in the room, you pull it around, you stretch it around, and you do all essentially songwriting. But it's kind of pre-production as well, because you're getting the song to a point where you've got it room ready, now it's studio ready. And so it's ready to be recorded, and that's it. And the main thing between that is it going from something that exists purely electronically to something human beings play that have a feel for it. And again, this is the fucking AI argument all over. And those human beings we will then get in and we'll pull that song apart, and it's like, oh, well, that bit sounds great and we've been listening to it, but when we play it, that it feels wrong. There's like, and also vocals like live or just on a demo, once they're live, it's different. But mainly the drums, it's going to be the drums.
100%. There was a bit of because we did that thing of like, let's just make an album and let's take all the breaks off, we'll do whatever we want, and then we've written the album, we've done it all. And then we had to go into rehearsal room and go, right, now how does this work live? How do we do this live? So,
I think there's a magic though to bands when you use I don't like it when it's really, really tight, because you listen to a lot of metal records and they're insanely tight now. But like I said, there's a magic to the metal records I really love are the messy ones, the ones that are like Into the Pandemonium by Celtic Frost, Moshkinstein. It's got all that stuff.
I know what you mean.
There's a punk element to it where it's you can hear the tempos are being pushed and it's it's messy, but it's exciting. It's people playing in a bloody room. It's brilliant, and there's that's kind of where I kind of got off the metal bus a little bit, was when it got really Pro Tools and really polite and really sort of like, there's just very little. Where's the rebellion gone in this? You know what I mean? That's
like I said, it's buried under a load of laptop metal. I totally agree. Yeah, there is a load of that stuff out there. That just it ticks the boxes, but the thing is, invariably, it's like, you get in, it's almost like thrash tribute records. Do you know what I mean? You look at the band on the back and they've all got drain pipe jeans on, and ironed brand new Creator t-shirt, right? And they're all like like 21 or something. And I'm like, guys, you are supposed to be the next generation, not the first generation again.
Yeah. I love that. I love that detail of iron create a t-shirt.
It's like
it is. It's
thrash metal fan. But how much are high-tech trainers worth now? I wonder. You imagine the high-tech baseball, but they must be collectible now.
I wish I had a pair. I wish I had a pair.
We looked them up.
I've been trying to get some.
I know. It's honestly, you can't be the only one. If only high tech would go.
Yes.
They were the thing, were they?
Yeah. I know.
Can you imagine if high tech went right? We're doing a 1986 high top thrash metal tribute high tech boot.
That would be amazing.
They would not know what they had on their hands. They'd make like 500,000 and go, that'll do for the world. They sell out in a day in the US only.
Right. We need to get on this.
Everyone in the UK and Europe, everyone in the UK and Europe is going insane. Going, where do we get ours? These are the thrash shoes to have.
Oh, mate. Absolutely, yeah.
I'd buy them, keep them in a box, and wear them once. And that the one time someone has to put them on my feet because it's in my coffin. Do you know what I mean? I'm wearing them out.
Bury me with them.
I'm wearing them out, as in I'm wearing them and I'm going out.
I'd just like to say, if anybody from High Tech is out there listening, we are available for endorsement deals.
Yes, please.
Can I just say, if anybody out there from High Tech is listening, why haven't you fucking been sponsoring this podcast, for fuck's sake?
Oh my God, that'd be amazing.
Corporate Judas.
That would be amazing. Sponsored by High Tech. Come on.
Wouldn't it just?
Exactly.
Well, no chance of it now. Now that I've slagged off the fictional High Tech employee who's listening.
Amazing. But it's like Matt was saying, you're right. You're absolutely right. It's, you don't want to get into like, it was all better in the old days, kind of, but it was different. It was different. But like a band like Voivod, man, it's like, I mean, why aren't they headlining festivals around the world? Do you know what I mean? It's like,
you mean the question Brian Tatler asks himself every night.
I read that recent book about the new wave of British heavy metal. The chapter about Diamond Head's heartbreaking. It's just like you literally had it all. You had every element of the puzzle, and then they didn't have the right management. It's so sad. Because they must look at Metallica every day and think that should have been us every day.
Yeah, but you know what? There's just so many. There's so many bands out there like that. And that's why I never forget being in a band and being able to put something out and have a logo that people recognize and a history and things like that. It's a privileged position, one that was fucking earned. But but it is privileged. Some people never ever get to do that. And let's be honest, it's a lot of people's dream, and if you don't enjoy it, that's what pisses people off. This is what really pisses people off is when somebody is living the dream or is doing the thing, and every interview you just hear them moaning about something. And they complain, and that's when the line gets crossed. And when you're like, dude, you've got no fucking idea.
Yeah. Well, what I said before, we hope our gigs, we tend to be, we don't do
anarchic.
You could say that. Yeah, definitely. We're not like aloof or, trying to, it's just us, we can't be anything else. I mean, most of it's because, we're nervous. So we just gabble nonsense, but it just seems to kind of work and bring people in and be, include, what, actually talking about that is really interesting because, Matt, you, was it Away that you interviewed? For a blog or something. I think Matt interviewed.
I did away from Voivod, because I was, I didn't know. I mean, he was a huge hero of mine, and I got to interview him for a blog, and I met him 3 times now, but I was just a huge fan. But he said that they all had day jobs, and they were, they were never to us Voivod, but big, like they were up there in Metallica and Led Zeppelin. They were just legendary bands. You know what I mean? But they weren't that, but to them they were just struggling to do anything.
Yeah.
They never, but I went to see them in London, and it was hardly, wasn't the Underworld, and it wasn't that busy, but they were Voivod. It was just like they were properly legends to us, and it was like just blows your mind, just absolutely blows your mind. But they meant so much to me.
Yeah,
I saw Voivod. Oh God, I'm just trying to think. But they were supporting.
Yeah,
and it's like I was only there for Voivod. I had absolutely no interest in the headliner, but it was like a proper second-rate headliner. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Just like, oh my God, you're not even fit to lace their fucking boots. You're not fit to string their guitars.
To lace their high-tech.
And they're playing beneath you. Do you know? It was like,
it's so weird, isn't it? So weird. But you were saying, Matt, like when you spoke to Away, correct me if I'm wrong, but he was saying like you got the impression that he was just a bit like kind of surprised that people were, had that kind of reverence for them or what they did,
Well, I think, because to me, they were just incredibly exotic, incredibly cool, but to them, it wasn't like that. They were just making records and getting stuff done. I think a lot of the time, people who haven't been in bands, haven't been involved with it, they realise so much of it isn't, being these great artistic endeavours. It's more about just getting stuff done and finishing projects, and just getting there and working out what's the cheapest hotel in Wigan on a Tuesday night. It's that kind of stuff. It's like, I've never known
who's gonna do the fucking set list.
It's just totally. There's a guy from a band called Worried About Satan, and he put up a blog the other day, which is just like a stream of consciousness list of things. We'll have to send to you that anybody that's been in a band and self-release will understand. I mean, it's literally just got things in there. It's like, I know how much barcodes cost now. Do you know what I mean? I know what a UPC code is. You know what I mean? It's like this is why.
This is why I've never self-released, and you're absolutely right. I mean, but people were telling us like, crowdfund a new album if you can't find a label. Fuck off. Whose house is going to be full of fucking CDs, vinyl, and T-shirts? It ain't going to be fucking mine. And by the way, I didn't get into a band to work for a record label, even if it's my record label. I didn't get into it. As it is, I'm backwards and forwards to the post office more than I'd like, but at least that's merch, and we actually make some money on that, unlike all the other product. But it's like people think it's like, crowdfund it and self-release. And what they think is self-release.
They don't see all the stuff.
Just goes out the door.
Ta-da!
Buy record, you released yourself. It's been self-released.
Exactly. Yeah, they don't see all the nuts and bolts. It's incredibly complicated. I mean, just working out how the now, especially with Brexit and all that, working out the tax implications for sending stuff to Europe and like where the VAT gets paid and all this. Once you've done it, you've done it. So it's like, you can kind of like, okay, now I understand how that is, but so it's okay. But we found that, I mean, we've never really looked for like management or anything like that. And like I say, we're very lucky. We had a small label that really helped us out. Still a great friend of ours, but we just found, apart from like the close circle of friends we have, just nobody cared enough. We've used stuff in the past, like PR companies and all this kind of stuff. It's just like nobody's going to put in as much time and effort as we are. They just aren't.
Absolutely.
And the problem with us is that we're, because we do, we aren't straight down the line this or this or this. We found that we might as well just do everything ourselves anyway, because we can explain it better than anybody else can.
Yeah, you see, I think personally, I think you really need to let that go.
Yeah,
you really need to let that. No, but that we're not this or we're not that. Yeah, loads of bands aren't this or that.
Yeah.
We live in an era now where the crowd come to you. You don't have to go to them. So and that's where you are in your career now. You're in a place now where you're like, actually, do you know what? Yeah, we don't have to go around chasing everything. Because a certain amount of stuff is going to come to you. I'll make damn sure of it.
Good man. We're really lucky as well. We've got the kind of like the you know, the people who follow us, you know, like as is the modern way.
You're desperately trying not to use the word fans, aren't you?
Yeah. But it's
Totally
that,
agree.
Yeah. But it's
Creepy
that thing.
word.
I don't like it at all because it's a community, isn't it? We're all part of the same community, aren't we? So there's no one to elevate anybody above anyone else's state.
But also, supporter, I'm fine with that. But fan, that's straight out of Fanatic. And,
yes, absolutely, man. Yeah.
I am not a fan of fans.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. And that's that thing of like, we've spoken before. You know, me and Matt a lot of time. It's when people. It's the same like politics and stuff like that. When you get like that football fan kind of thing of like, I follow this. You know what I mean? And you know, I'm going. You know, I'm going with this. Whatever. Like, you know, our lot. You know, we have these like, you know, Facebook communities and things like that. And it was like nuts, man. During lockdown, people were just like, people, not even about the band, were going on there and just like checking in with each other and just going there for a chat.
Yeah,
and it's
mad. It's
you know,
mad.
Without going all hippie on it, but it was a beautiful thing, man. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, this is amazing.
I was doing a weekly TV show
really?
on the Acid Rain Facebook page. Every Saturday.
Amazing.
I did Saturday Night In with H, and I'd basically get somebody from Bobby Gustafson, Violence Overkill, had him on. We had Neil Cooper from formerly of the Beyond and of Therapy.
Amazing.
We got just getting people on
Whoever's
every
around.
week. And if there's nobody around, then it was just me. And
right. Yeah.
But people still talk about it now. About some of the laughs they had and about some of the topics that came up, because what happens is, of course, whilst, you know, I'm doing the show or whatever, people start going off in the comments, and of course, because we're in lockdown, people start like having long conversations and debates and going off on different topics and stuff like that, and you're it's fucking it's amazing, isn't it?
It is nuts. And and again, it goes back to that thing of like, we hope that, you know, the you know, our lot, you know, when we play a gig, when we've had, you know, new people you haven't kind of experienced us live before, the audience are part of that experience, man, because it's you know, it's such a welcoming kind of happy environment, you know. Obviously, there's lots of loud noises and stuff.
Look, I've said you're going to do a gig with us. You can lay it off. You can just, you know.
But you know what I mean, man?
The key to sales is when you've sold,
stop. Yeah, okay, I'll stop. Yeah, nice. Yeah.
No, mate. I'm only winding you up. But
but it is, man, isn't it?
It is. And look, in all seriousness, we got to do a show together. I can't thank you enough for coming on here, guys. I really can't. Please now tell everybody what they need to do to get hold of your album.
Go, Matt.
Just go to fierceanddead.com, isn't it? Probably the best place, and that directs you to everywhere, doesn't it?
Fierceanddead.com. Look at that. Fucking nice and simple. Beautiful. So anyway, I'm going to finish the recording here. Kev, thank you very much. Matt,
no worries.
Thank you very much. It's been beautiful. You were on mute there, mate.
There you go.
Thanks, man. That's brilliant.
Thanks a lot, guys.